Hey everyone, welcome back to the Cast and Spear podcast. We have Matt Hoang, Mr. California, one of the awesome Spearos here in Southern California, going to do a deep dive into bluefin tuna hunting tips. Welcome to the show, Matt.
What's up, man? I see what you did there. Deep dive.
I want to know, because I'm going to be potentially going out for some bluefin tomorrow, last minute trip. What do I need to know, man? What should I prep myself in the next couple hours
Ooh,
before I go to
yeah.
bed?
Prep yourself to not catch anything.
No, that's probably true.
No. I don't mean that in any offensive way, but that's just the nature of bluefin hunting, man. You go out there and you never know what's gonna happen.
You were telling me, and I've had a little bit of experience going for bluefin, and what was crazy to me is that it's not a real solo sport in spearfishing. It's pretty much the closest you can get to having like a crew. Like everybody has their own role, and you know, you're the one who's going to dive this time, so the other guy has to drive the boat, and the other guy has to throw the float in, and you're metering. It's just crazy. So talk a little bit about that kind of strategy of having a crew and what do you need to prepare for.
Yeah, absolutely, man. When I tell people about, when they're just getting into tuna, I mean, I haven't even been doing it so long myself, but we had some pretty awesome moments last season and the season before. What I always tell people is the tuna game is like a team sport. It's truly the crew that matters, right? And I look at tuna hunting not through the lens of, wow, that's a big fish. No, like if you get on a tuna on your own accord, like not having to have been on a charter, like, your friend has a boat, you take out your boat, do all that stuff yourself. It's a real trophy and testament to the fact that like you've been doing the sport and you've learned as much as you can to capitalize on your chances. So to kind of go over it, and why I say it's a crew game, it it really boils down to it being like an orchestra, right? So you have all these moving parts, and everything that you do right increases your chances of landing a fish like 2% or 5% or some small margin, right? But you got to get all the little bits and pieces together in order for it to truly be a successful hunt. So, first things first, you got to have the right crew. Everybody needs to know how to dive, how to be safe, how to be a rescue diver, yada, yada, bare bones. Secondly, everyone has to be dialed in with their guns. So if you have a tuna gun, I know a lot of people who buy tuna guns, they've never shot it. So that when they go out to shoot tuna, they're just like, oh, I didn't know my gun shoots 3 inches to the left or 3 inches high. It's, getting your gun dialed in, the crew going in, crew dialed in, and then also, learning your roles. So in Southern California, our style of bluefin hunting is a little bit different. In other parts of the world, they just go to the high spots, maybe chum. But here, the real strategy is just churn and burn is what I call it. So you're sitting on, what you got to do is you got to have a diver off the back of the boat, sitting in a ready position with his gun loaded, ready to rock and roll, fins on, mask on, circle on. And you're just cruising through the area that, bluefin are going to be frequenting or that have been frequented until you get meter marks. So what meter marks are is like your electronics sending a signal saying, hey, there's something big under the water under you. And at that point, you yell the depth. So 40 feet. Diver, without hesitation, jumps into the water, punches a dive, 40 feet, no breathe up, with all this adrenaline. And then you have a deckhand who's feeding all the float into the water, the bungee into the water, the captain who needs to make sure that he's keeping an eye out on his diver, and a whole bunch of stuff going on. So, I mean, we can get into it as deep as you want. So just let me know, what you're curious about.
Well, I'm curious about. Okay, I'm the diver. I jump down. You said 50 feet. Cool. The boat's still moving. I just jump right off. I go out maybe like a couple kicks and then go down. So then I'm going down. What am I looking for? Am I looking for the tornado? Am I getting to 50 feet and just kind of like chilling there and then waiting for them to come to me? Or are they shooting past me? Like, what am I looking at here?
Roger. All right, cool. So basically, from an individual standpoint, like what I need to be dialed in order to get the fish, or like, yeah, well, like how do I say that? From an individual standpoint, like this is a skill set that I think you need to be successful with tuna. So number one, when you jump off the water, make sure the captain actually doesn't have the motor still on. You don't want that. You could get hit by a prop. It's happened. I actually got a chunk of my fin tapped by the prop because I got too excited. So see a foamer, you're marking 50 feet, captain shuts off the motor or throws it in neutral. and you're off the back. All right, punch down to 50 feet. You don't. Actually, not sure if it is. Bluefin tuna also are like one of the most, I would say, diverse types or diverse behaviors. Bluefin tuna exhibit the most diverse kind of how should I say? Sorry, give me a second here. Okay, bluefin tuna exhibit some of the widest variety of behaviors. So what I mean by that is some days, if you're marking the fish, you go down to 50 feet and boom, you're just right smack dab in the middle of the vortex. The vortex shifts over to you and you're surrounded by bluefin. Some days you drop to 50 feet and you don't see anything. The fish have already left you. Either they saw you coming and escaped your path of dive, or you were too late to the drop and the school had moved past you. So when it comes to, figuring it out, it's all about playing with the fish. So figuring out what they're doing specifically that day. Every dive that you do should be an attempt to gather information. So are they being, spooky that day? Are they being curious that day? Are they swimming away from you? Are they chasing the bait? Are they cruising, or are they slowing down? Those are all things to keep your eyes open for.
Now, do you go for the first fish you shoot? Do you like, is it, like one in the hand is worth two in the bush kind of thing? Like take the one that is closest to you first because you can wait for the big one, but then it might not come and then you just missed out everything. What's your
Mm-hmm.
strategy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. So when it comes to the bluefin, it's funny because what we've noticed is when you get that wall of fish, like you got to keep your eyes sharp for that one fish that just kind of hangs off the school, and kind of slows down and like gives you the opportunity. So a lot of times the whole wall will come past, and you'll have fish that are pretty close to you, but they swim so fast that shooting the closest fish might not necessarily be the best thing to do. What you got to do is take your time, look around, and as the wall is approaching you, continue to look at the beginning of the wall. So like if they're swimming left to right, look to the left, and find that one fish that just slows down just enough. He might not necessarily be the one that's closest to you, but he's going to be the one that gives you the opportunity to kind of swim in front of you, slow down, give you that eyeball, and then you just take the shot.
Are you taking the shot by leading it? Are you taking like hit the middle just because it's, big mass? What are you doing shot placement?
That's freaking great question too. Okay, so I have a bad habit of shooting yellowtail like mid body, right? And you can track yellowtail. You'll stick your gun out and point it right at them as long as you want all day long, and they'll just swim casually in front of you, right? So with bluefin, there's two things when you're actually taking the shot to be conscious of. Number one, put the point of aim at the front of the fish, so either on the nose or just slightly in front of the nose. Because what I've learned after reviewing like GoPro footage of me missing a bunch of shots and my friends missing a bunch of shots is that a bluefin's reaction to like the sound of the shot breaking or just any sort of disturbance is to actually swim faster. Like they're like bullet shaped, right? They're super hydrodynamic fish, super pelagic. So their reaction to any sort of disturbance is to actually just swim faster in the direction that they're already going, compared to like a yellowtail or like a reef fish who will actually change directions or something like that. So that's why it's important. Put the aim at the nose or in front of the nose so that when you break the shot, and if they happen to freak out, the shaft is still going to hit them. They're going to speed up, but the point of aim was in front of them, so the shaft will hit. Second thing to keep in mind is don't track your gun like how you would for a yellowtail. So what I mean by that is I have the gun fully extended pretty much the whole time I'm lining up on a yellowtail. With a bluefin, as soon as you extend your gun, they're going to start to slightly quarter away from you. So they'll turn slightly away and they'll start to build that distance because they have this kind of zone of comfort in terms of distance. When you extend your gun, they can see the tip of your gun, so they're going to start to swim further away. And that profile shot is a tough shot to hit, man, especially with fish that can swim as fast as they do. Even though it's a big fish, with a quartering shot, you're going to miss a lot.
Okay, so then you're leading it. Do you have to have a slip tip flopper? Like, what gun should I be using, and how do I know distance? So I don't. I've seen a lot of guys in the
Yeah,
blue water stuff where they take the shot and they're
yeah,
like, I thought it was closer, but it was just a really big tuna, and they just too
yeah, yeah,
far
yeah,
away.
yeah. Yeah, right on. So slip tip for sure. Slip tip for the win. You can get some wicked shots. Like belly, tail shots, and still hold on the fish. So slip tip, and then when you're punching the shot, by the way, what I forgot to mention is just punch out and pull the trigger. So don't punch out, line up, and then pull the trigger. Just your gun comes out and you pull the shot immediately. With that being said, once you break the shot, the next thing to consider is like the range. So how I typically, or how I've been told to ID like range, is if you can see the eyeball of the fish, you're usually within range for a tuna. And then if you can see the yellow stripe, like the you know how they have a yellow band running laterally on the fish. If you can make out the detail of the yellow stripe, that means you're like definitely within range. So keep those things in mind for ranging.
Okay, and then finally, what about charters? Have you ever done one of these like, public charters that you can just buy to get a spot on one of these tuna boats, or have you done all private boats?
I have, man. We did the Guardian Charters. Huge shout out to them, man. They're running a really cool operation out there. To this day, I have never seen a wild day like I have on the Guardian Charter. Dude, we were out there. They're out of San Diego, so we bomb it out there, and foamers in 360 degrees all simultaneously. I had one off the bow, one off the stern, port side, starboard, 4 freaking boils of tuna just going off in all 360 directions. That was such a crazy day. I can't recreate how wild of a day that was. But with that being said, charters are my attitude towards charters is, for me, the tuna game is the most satisfying when you kind of put everything together yourself, right? So you get your own boat, you get your own crew, you figure out the techniques, and it's the process of getting the fish, not just getting the fish itself or like how big the fish is, right? But the real value when it comes to charters is if you're just getting into this game, like there's so much to learn. And if you don't have people who have already been doing it and have been successful doing it, you're going to take forever to like get to the point where you'll land the fish, or you might get lucky, but to really feel like you earned the fish, going on a charter and learning as much as you can is like invaluable. So that's where I think the real value is in going on a charter.
Well, I think that's a perfect place to end it. I hope this gave you guys a little bit of tips and tricks and hopefully inspire you to go after those big tuna so you can get all that sashimi and enjoy those big tuna steaks for yourselves. Thanks for all the tips, Matt. If you want to find and reach out to Matt, go to his IG at Mr. California. Check out his YouTube at Adventure Eats. And tomorrow is our last episode. We're going to be talking about lobster hunting here in California. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, man. Good luck tomorrow. Let me know how you do.
Will do. Hey, one more thing before you go. If you're on the socials, the Instagrams, the TikToks, the other platforms, follow us. Say hi. At Cast and Spear all over the place. That's at CASTANDSPEAR. I'll see you over there. Chat soon.